Tomorrow with no memory, I'm busting hell wide open. I'm gonna do everything and anything that I want to do because I ain't worried about a thing, a person, or a place. You hear me? I'm busting hell wide open. Child, the reason why I am who I am today is because of my memory and what I know and who I know and whose I am. That's why I don't do the things that I don't do. Be back.
Almost caught me dancing for real.
Listen, I don't know how long this one will be, y'all. Last week I gave you a disclaimer. But your girl said that she got a lot to say for this one, so this might be a Pentecostal one. I don't know. Let's pray. Let us pray.
I don't know who she was pointing the other way. She wasn't pointing this way.
There you go.
I had to look to see what you talking about. Like, let me tell you something. Listen, this topic is heavy now. We don't talk about that in this house. Back in the day, you couldn't go outside and talk about what went on in your household. That's what the old folks say. What goes on in my house stays in my house. Mm-hmm. Now, to be honest, I agree with that to a degree. You got to be proud with some things now. What you think, sis?
Listen, I tell everything, so I'm learning now to be more discreet with stuff. I do agree though, because you have to have a level of I don't want to say secrecy, but it's a level of discreetness when certain things happen, because you got to protect your space. And this is such a broad topic, right? We don't talk about that in this house. It could be about your marriage, your kids, yourself, just different things in general. Silence is universal. It don't have to be one necessary topic. But for us growing up, it was more so things that happen within the family. You don't talk about that, like touchy subjects of SA and DV and all of that other stuff you can't say because you don't want to be censored. But stuff like that they kept private. You know what I mean? And sometimes silence isn't always a good thing. And then sometimes it is for the protection of the family. So now that we are in another time and space, it is important to have discernment to know when and when not to remain silent. No pun intended with the cops.
But you know what though? Back then they also didn't believe in therapy either. They just thought, you all you need is Jesus and Jesus alone, right? Sure. But so much, let me tell you something. The teenagers now versus back when I was coming up, they deal with things that I never touched. Like they real life be dealing with a lot of trauma, a lot of issues in their households. And if you stick with this right here and you don't go outside the home and talk about it, what do you think is happening to these children that can't talk about it? You have to have some type of therapy now. You can't just, yes, God is everything. Believe me, God is everything. And he can get you out of anything and everything. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes it feels good. And I was the one, I'll be the first to admit, I was the one to think that, what is me sitting down with somebody I don't know going to do for me in my life? But to be honest, they got to keep what you say. So you can just go in there and flood the gates and talk about your life, get it all off your chest. Because I wrote, to get everything out. Everybody doesn't like to write or read or anything like that. So if you got to go sit down with somebody for 30 minutes and talk about what's going on in your life, why not?
So let's backtrack and talk about what therapy really is, because there's a stigma upon therapy that if you go to therapy, you're crazy. Therapy is only for the YTs. Therapy is that person don't care. Okay, therapy is you have someone who is medically appointed to help you navigate your mental, your feelings, your emotions, and to give you a sense of peace, because a lot of things we have swept under the rug, right? So you think about those cartoons back in the day, or them shows they tell you to go clean your room, and they sweep stuff under the rug, or they throw stuff all in the closet, and then when the parent come, they either trip over the rug or they open the closet and everything fall out. That's what you look like when you do not go to therapy, because of years and years of internalizing and keeping things to yourself, and just, like we talked about last week, just walking around hollow but highly functioning, right? That's what it looks like. So going to therapy is just somebody coming along and helping you unhoard all of that emotion that you have kept for so long, removing one piece at a time, one piece at a time. That's what therapy is. And that's so needed, because with these kids, like you said, we're trying to tell, oh, you need to talk, you need to this, you need to that. How we forcing them to be healed and coming to us from a healed perspective, and we coming to them broken. So it starts with us. We always say we are the blueprint, and it starts with us. We are the first partakers of therapy, because the older generation, they not trying to hear none of that. You ain't nobody finna tell me what to do. It's not about telling you what to do. It's just giving you another outlook or another opinion, another insight on how things might have been, because we personalize a lot of things. And somebody will say something and you'll be like, oh, such such had attitude. The therapist might say, did they really have an attitude, or was they just irritated that day and it had nothing to do with you? Or maybe you was irritated that day, and then everything that somebody said to you, you took offensively.
But you know what I didn't know? I didn't know until I got this age that there were triggers. And see, what happens when you don't go get therapy, you don't talk to somebody about something. Something happens in your life later on because you're not healed. You're still dealing with this open wound. Let's keep it real. You're still dealing with it, but nothing happened for you to open back up. So when that trigger comes along and it happens, and you're like, you're digging it all the way back up again. Now you remember what happened to you at 5 or 10 or 15 or however old you were, and now you're having to deal with that again. All the hurt, all the pain, everything that happened in that moment, because that one trigger puts you right back in that place, and now you gotta find a way to dig back out of it to be okay again. So therapy is needed. Even in my generation, therapy wasn't suggested. For one, we,
Absolutely.
we come from old school parents.
Yeah.
So what we did, we didn't break the cycle. We just kept it right on going along with, well, my mom said, therapy, as long as you got God, you good. So you when you when you living in this silence and you don't say anything and you just carry it and carry it and carry it, you're only harming yourself. You're harming yourself. And then now you gave birth to kids that you're telling the same thing to, and then those kids gonna carry it on to the next generation. And what we accomplished, if we're the blueprint, because let's be real, the matriarchs of the families now are no longer here, and then you don't have nobody to pick up that torch and carry it anymore because they're still living in their lives and doing their thing. They don't even want the responsibility to be the matriarch of the family. So when them old folks go, it's done sometimes, honestly.
Yeah, that brings me to a story my mom had told me. I had asked her, because my grandmother, like, she was like the sweetest person you ever seen. Like, you meet her, you fall in love with her. She could cook, she go to church, she loved her family. We the same sign, so I already knew. I said, yeah, behind all that sweetness though, I know it's a little gangster in there, like somewhere. So I asked my mom, I said, did Nana have a certain side that she ain't take no foolishness? She said, child, let me tell you. She said one time They was in church and they was singing in a choir. And she
Not
said, I
church.
saw this lady when I was with my daddy. I saw this lady that he was around while we was at church. So she said, I went over there and I told mama that this lady be around daddy. So she said, my grandmother, sugar sweet, sweet as pie. She did a church thing. She ain't say nothing. Came home, put that man meal on the table, went in the room, got a pew pew, okay, put it to his head and said, if I ever hear you have that girl around here again, we gonna have a problem. And that's not how she said it, but that's what she said. Okay. I said, I knew I got that first 48 from somebody. I knew. When I tell you, baby, I felt so vindicated. I was like, I knew it was within me. It was just in my blood. I just knew.
But you know what though? Old folks didn't play.
No, but
They did not play.
I said that to say, like, that changed my mom's mentality of relationships and marriage, because now she's viewing her mother as weak. Why are you still with this man if he's cheating on you? You still making his plate, you making him something to eat, you still taking care of the house, like,
But
nah,
that's what they
leave.
did, sis.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. This is what we don't talk about that in this house. We don't. She didn't ask no questions. She couldn't ask those questions. Now me, I'm asking my mother everything, like why you do this or why you do that or whatever, whether
Mhm.
she comfortable or not, because I want to know
But see,
so
things
it
was
can
so much.
help me move forward.
It was so much different back then. It's a lot of things that women back then tolerated that women today would never.
Absolutely not.
Okay, and let's just keep it real and 100.
Yeah.
Not only that, the women today are working. They're independent, and it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things they're not going to tolerate. They
Mm-hmm.
they'll save money to the side and they be gone. But women
Been
back
there,
then,
done
they
that.
felt like they had to stay with them husbands,
Yeah.
and they had the outside children and everything to prove they were cheating. They still stayed there, took care of their husband, and wrote it out for them 30, 40 years. That's
Because
how they stayed together so long.
back in the day, marriage was the goal, not happiness.
Right.
And that's the difference. They felt like one, oh, she married, she good, she got the, she got the ultimate life. You married, go to church, got the kids, got, everybody's thriving or whatever the case may be. And the wife just sitting there suffering in silence. She know this man cheating on her, but
Mhm.
she still got to come and clean his drawers and do this and do that and probably be a mockery because the woman that he cheating with is amongst them in the community.
Or in the church. Child. But see, that's the prime example of you saying, people sweeping things on the rug. They did a lot of that. Sweeping things on
Yes.
the rug back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't talk about it ever again. They didn't
Mm-mm.
bring it up. That's even back to the point of, you had the family members doing things to the children in the family.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of them taking it to the law, they swept that kind of stuff up under the rug too,
Mm-hmm.
when they should have made them pay.
Yeah.
So you never talked about it again. But that person, that child that went through that, still remembers what they went through. And they got to carry that for the rest of their lives. And look at this person that's never ever going to pay for what they did to them because that was their uncle or their
Or how
auntie.
about the
Who
ones that
did.
had that happen to them, had a baby, and now they have to have their parent raise that baby. And now the child is growing up thinking that their sibling is their sibling, but that's really their mama because that was a product of SNA.
Right.
And now the whole family is just disrupted because now this baby done grew up to learn the truth behind the matter, and they're destroyed.
But you know what though? Now they're trying to make it where even if you deal with that type of situation, you still gotta carry that baby to full term. And I feel like with that being said, there's too many permissions being over a woman's body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't agree with none of that kind of stuff. Like In that case, I still don't think that it should go to the other route.
Right.
But I also feel like it should be another plan in place, like maybe adoption is an option. Because that woman has to look at that child for the rest of their lives and think about
Especially
the
if they
pain.
look like the person. Ooh, child.
And it might be
Can you
somebody they don't know. You know what I mean? It might be somebody they don't know. They never met a day in their life, and they got to deal with that for the rest of their lives. What kind of pain? That's painful.
and then having a baby in general is just not
Oh my god.
is not a cakewalk because it's so
Whew.
much that goes into having a baby. You know you, but you
Mhm.
don't know the other person, right? You don't know what they deal with mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically. You don't know what they deal with genetically. You don't know their parents and their parents or whatever the case may be. So you and him might be good or you and her might be good, but great grandmother struggled with this type of demon, this type of addiction. And now that's in the baby because that's in the bloodline. So later
Mhm.
on, when they go to a party and one of their best friends say, "Hey, try this." They try it one time and then they get addicted because that's in their bloodline, but they didn't know because you didn't know. So it's like you got to really be the moral of the conversation today is just have conversations with people because you
Okay.
never know, what you're going to come in contact with because so many things have been swept under the rug or pushed in the closet. And it's time to unpack these things because life is
Yeah.
man, it ain't
Listen,
gonna get no better.
sometimes, but it make you think about people in general. Like, you might think, okay, that person is always angry, or that person is always this and that. But you don't know what they went through in their lives because you don't know their story. So
Right.
you can't even make a judgment on them as a person because they're surviving in silence.
Yeah.
Because they were taught to keep it to themselves. Whatever goes into my house, stay here. So they'll probably never speak about anything because of that concept.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, conversations are needed, especially in relationships and friendships, especially relationships. Because a lot of times, let's be real, when people have babies, because I'm gonna raise my hand. I'm here. I didn't have no conversation about nothing. For what? Like, I mean, that wasn't the goal at the time. The
Nah.
conversation wasn't the goal. So nobody really sits down and say, "Hey, you know what? Was your dad a drunk? Was your grandma an addict? Or do you have diabetes, or do you have congestive heart failure?" We don't ask them kind of questions because, truth be told, if something happens to the child, you got to know that kind of stuff. What's on whose side, so you can save
You
your
do you
child.
even know your blood type? Yours.
I know mine. I know mine and my kids.
No, that's good. I don't know, but that's good. I love that for you. But these are the things, like, because when you have a baby as a woman, they ask you all of this stuff.
Or that.
You, do you drink? Do you smoke? Do you this? Do you that? Does this run in your family? Does that run in your family? And a
Mhm.
lot of the things they got a I don't know option because people really don't know. And it's
Mhm.
like we don't ask these questions. We don't ask our parents, is there anything genetically that I need to worry about? You know what I mean? Like my dad, his left eye is weaker than his right eye.
Mm.
We all got that. Me, my son, well, both of my babies. So
Wow.
now this one, I'm like, okay, he might have to wear glasses too. I don't know. His father's side is not well, his father wear glasses too. So you never know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you really have to be mindful about the company that you keep in and ask questions about the
But
family that you've been in because
see,
life be
that's the
life.
thing. Like you said, they be asking no kind of questions. So it made me ask my mom more questions. Well, did grandma this or did granddaddy this? So I can know what's in the family. Like, so when he asks these questions, I can at least answer. Because for a minute, you like, I don't know. Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. You just got to start having better communication with people because even like I said, relationships, friendships, all types of things. Because If you are good friends with somebody and you know them, then you know not to do certain things when it comes to them
Yeah.
because you had what a conversation.
Yeah. When you
Period.
get older, you start to know, you start to understand the importance of grace and giving people grace. Um, I was really big on assumptions, and I wanted people to handle me the way I handled them. That's not how life works. Everybody not going to handle you the way that you handle them. You got to give them grace and have a conversation to let them know this is how you want to be handled, and give them that patience. You have to have patience in order for them to get there. Now, I ain't saying wait 4 or 5 years, but you got to see some type of effort being put in place. If you see effort, give them grace because they've been doing them or living this way for a certain amount of time. So it's going to take a while to create a new habit. But don't be naive either, and pay attention to when you voice your concern or excitement about something or desire about something, and people just deliberately don't do it. That means they just don't care.
They don't care. But you got to teach people how to treat you. It took me a while to get there. And you can't expect people, it took a while for me to get here too. You cannot expect you out of people. And that's real.
That's the biggest lesson.
That's
That's
real.
the
Because
biggest lesson.
what I see as being bad, or what I see as being good, or what I see as being wrong or right, they might not see it that way. They might think they was well in their rights to do what they did. So you can't walk around, thinking that's what life is all about. People should do this and people shouldn't do that. They shouldn't. Some things that they shouldn't do. Let's be real. But you still can't expect them to walk in your shoes, just like you can't walk in their shoes. You can't walk in they can't walk in your shoes. So it took me a while to get there. It really took a while for me to get there. I've always given grace, sis. I think I've always given grace. I've probably given a little bit too much grace. But the older I get, I'm like, you know what? God gives us grace and mercy every single day of our lives,
Every day.
and He really don't have to. He can look at our track records and be like, "Who waking you up for what? What you gonna do with your life if I wake you up?
Absolutely nothing. Because
Nothing.
you
You
ain't
ain't
do
gonna
nothing
do nothing.
yesterday.
You ain't do nothing
So,
yesterday. You ain't did nothing last week. You ain't did nothing last month. What I'm waking you up to do? To sleep all day? Like, I mean, for real. If He looked at us like that, we'd be like, so at the end of the
mhm,
day, He gives us grace and mercy. And the older I get, I have to keep that in the back of my mind that, okay, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect, Nikki, not even you. So, okay, but I don't believe in apologies. I'm still going to stand on that. I don't believe in apologies if it's going to be repeated behavior. Don't apologize to me if you're going to do it again. Because then I got to dismiss you. Because for one, you lied to me. That's one. Because you did it again. But, I have given second chances. Let me make that clear. I've given second and third and fourth and fifth and sixth and so on chances to be fumbled. But we just gotta know that life is hard enough, and we need people. I say this all the time. People need people. I don't care how y'all dress it
absolutely.
up. We need each other.
Absolutely.
Period. You may be doing good today, but tomorrow may come and you might have a Job experience. So be careful how you treat people in this life, because God can be like, all right, so you up here now. All right, let me bring you on down a little bit so you can remember where you came from. Let me remind
That
you.
that that Job experience is no joke. You hear me? None.
But when he give it back to you though, now that's the best thing when he bring it back to you. But to go through that thing, I've been there a couple times. To go through that and come out of it, yeah, I came out a little bit better each time. But I had to learn some lessons each time too. I had to learn some things. I had to remember, like, this is not the way you got to do this time. You handle this person right here with care, okay? Be gentle. Don't
Mm-hmm.
do that. You treat people right now. You don't say what you come out the first thing that come out your mouth. Don't listen. I had to I had to get right. So just know that just like you have it today, you may not have it tomorrow. And you got to be kind to people, be good to people, because you really don't know what's going on in their world. They could be surviving something that you know nothing about. I go through life every day surviving something and nobody knows nothing. Sis, I tell you that.
Yeah.
don't know one thing, and could be falling apart, and
By
get
the
on behind
seams.
this camera and be like, "How y'all doing? Welcome to another episode of Breaking
Every day. She do it every
It."
day.
Y'all don't understand.
Me, y'all not gonna see me. But her, child,
Yeah, we
come
gonna
right out. She come right out of a tornado. Be like, hey, welcome to another episode of Breaking the Silence. Where we got girl, how? Why?
smiling and dying inside.
Child, let me die in private. I'm not
But
coming up
but look,
on
my
you
mom always
live.
told me to be private, so I've always been like that though. If I told you something, it's because I wanted you to know. Because my mom has always told me, move in silence in your life, be private in your dealings in your life. You have to tell everything about your life. But I'm on this wavelength, like my story might help somebody. I got some
That
stories lined up for y'all
that's
now. I got
amazing to me that you were taught to move in silence, but your brand now is breaking the silence. I love that because it's like you're kind of becoming the blueprint in your own way and letting people know that silence can be necessary in some
hmm
aspects, but it could be crippling in others. So you have to use discernment to really understand when and when not to be
hmm
silent.
hmm
Sometimes you have to be silent when you are doing something personal
hmm
in regards to leveling up. That's when you should be silent because a lot of people prey on your downfall. PREY, right? And PRAY.
hmm
And you don't want to have the wrong people around you. You don't want to have too many hands in
hmm
your pot. Let me tell you something about all the Nikki Nicole's.
I know.
When she cook, she don't want no people, you don't want no hands on her pots. Okay.
Yeah, tell my
If
baby
they put their hands in her pot, she not eating it.
and not.
But that's just life. Like you shouldn't want too many hands in your pot. It's
Mm-mm.
your pot. So your hands are the only hands that need to be in that pot. I said that so that can, coincide. So that's when you should remain silent. But when
Mhm.
you suffering and you going through things, you need to talk to somebody because you should not internalize that because that's going to keep piling up and piling up and piling up. And the innocent bystander might come past and be a catalyst to all the stuff you internalized.
Mhm.
And they was just
They said
wrong
hello.
place, wrong time.
You said good morning, and what's so good about it?
Yes, we got to do better. We got to do better, y'all. We got to do better.
But yeah, man. But this time, y'all, we trying to do better. We trying to do better with our length of time. Plus, life be life, and sis can't sit but so long because it's drawing near.
Let me
It's
tell you
drawing near,
something,
y'all. It's drawing near.
baby. I'm trying to tell y'all. When I say, sometimes you got to be mindful of what you say. Because when I found out about this baby here, I said, this the last one. I felt like Vivica A. Fox and so forth. This the last fish dream right here. And when I tell you this the last one, oh, it's taking me through. And I ain't talking about that. Take me through that. Take me through that. That's the happy version. I'm talking about it's taking me through like I'm on a color purple. Child. This one right here. Whoo.
Y'all,
Oh, if
she
this would
gonna
have been
be.
first, if I would have had all of this first, the first time, Christian would have been on each channel.
She
Mm,
talking about
mm,
she do next year. Please.
Mommy
That nigga
said,
coming next month.
she said, your neck getting black. It's about that time. I said, oh Lord.
The neck get
Oh
black.
Lord.
Yes,
Yes,
the
because
neck get black. It's time.
When I had Christian and my neck started getting real black,
Mm-hmm.
and he came.
Let me look
Nasir,
at that.
he didn't give me no chance to have no type. My nose ain't get big, my neck wasn't black. He just was like, I'm out of here.
I think that neck might be getting black, girl.
It is, it's
Yeah, that neck
black.
get
It's
black,
just
yeah.
black.
Ooh, he coming soon. You got
He
that
might
bad
be
neck?
here around Thanksgiving.
You got that
Nah,
bad
not
up?
yet.
You better pack that bag.
His clothes is on the way. Soon as
Listen,
his clothes
y'all.
come, I'm going to wash them and I'm gonna pack my bag because my mommy said pack that bag, girl.
Listen, y'all don't
She
see.
said it was gonna come before she said he was coming before November came, but to God be the glory. We made it.
If y'all don't see us 2 more episodes from this episode now,
That means
that means she went on in and y'all go, hey, look, I come on and I be like, hey y'all. Be like, hey y'all, we need to take a hard break because she hadn't
and
had
you
the
know what's crazy? These women be on TikTok in labor. I said, I can't even breathe in labor,
Ooh,
let alone be live on TikTok. They sitting here on TikTok talking about something. I wish I would do content while I'm in labor. They having hard down contractions, doing videos. I'm
I was on the
like,
phone with Nicholas in labor. I had to look, I had the phone in my ear. I was talking, I forgot who I was talking. I said, girl, I said, let me call you back. I don't have this boy. I'll let you know when he here. Yeah, girl. And I'm still the only one in history of that hospital that was on the phone doing labor, get ready to head out to delivery to have Nicholas.
I did that with Christian. I walked in there. I said, my water broke.
I was chilling.
They said, you don't want no wheelchair. I said, no, I'm good. I'm walking. I'm good.
I was
But
chilling.
when the sick baby,
Girl, when the money got here, baby.
take me to the king because I can't take it. I ain't got nothing to bring him. Just
I
take
hollered
me.
all over that hospital with her. But Nicholas, it was like 1, 2, he was here. Like he let me eat anything I wanted to. I said the story all the time. He let me eat anything I wanted to. He was just
Yes,
he loved me.
that was
And
the
I was
best
pregnant.
pregnancy.
Best pregnancy ever. I
I
was
was
walking
tearing food down. You
in
heard me?
a dog.
And so pretty. Oh man, I think you get worse and worse as you
It got
keep
to get
having
worse
kids.
and worse. It got to.
Cause child,
Money had me on oxygen and fluids and stuff. I couldn't eat nothing the whole 9 months.
oh no.
She kept trying to come.
I would just slap her every time I see her. I would just
She did
I
me so
just look at her like, why are you looking at me like that? Cause I remember. I remember that day. I remember that day I was in the store, Miss Millie.
rocking. It was 2000.
Yo. Oh my God. See, we didn't start the show off like this, so we gotta end the show like this. Girl.
Woo! By and
Pray
by.
for me,
That's what the
y'all.
old folks
The
say. By
moral of
and
the story is pray for me, because baby, this one
by.
right here is taking me through, child.
If y'all see me in the next episode, that's gonna be the last episode for the season. And I'm just gonna come up here and say, hey y'all. Like how she said, hey
We
y'all.
tried.
We tried. But he came.
See y'all next
See
year.
y'all next year.
Hopefully. Oh God.
I'm done.
Whew.
I'm done. All right, y'all. But as always, you got some closing comments.
No, listen, I'm here for these. Listen, we just hope that if you don't take nothing else from the episode, just understand the importance of speaking up. We lived in generations where we came from houses where we had to remain silent. Children should be seen and not heard. And we see how that got us as millennials and, Gen Zs.
Yeah.
So, Generation X and all that good stuff. We see what life has lifed for us by remaining silent. So, we are trying to be, again, as we always say, the blueprint for the next generation, and to show you ways to help your kids and lineage and legacies to change the narrative, because silence is not always the answer.
No.
But, as always, we are here healing hearts and inspiring change.
Y'all hanging there. Later.